Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm going to post something different to this channel than what I usually post, but it's my hope that this gives you some insight or helps you out before you do something stupid that I think a lot of people are doing at this point in time. Something that a lot of people ask me when I post these videos to my channel from this Dead City Neighborhood Walkthroughs playlist where I'll go by and I'll show you all the dead pieces of real estate and they'll all say for lease, for lease, for lease, or as somebody recently mentioned, for lease Navidad, which I thought was hysterical. When I show that, what are you doing? What's the point? What's your agenda? What are you trying to accomplish here? What's your point? My point is quite simple. I was someone who was looking for a store very recently. And I had a lot of dishonest people tell me, you're never going to find anything better than this, for when they were showing me $19,000 stores that were smaller than my current store. There were people saying, if you don't rent this right now, somebody else will take it. And I have them saying that on camera. And then 2.5 years later, the space, along with everything else on the block, is still empty. My point is that people should be entering these transactions a bit more relaxed, understanding that they have more leverage than the people in the real estate industry like to let on. They want you to think they have the leverage. You actually have quite a bit of leverage if you're someone who is looking to lease or someone who is looking to buy. And this couldn't be more obvious than a recent experience that I had with a house. So anybody who's watched this channel for any period of time, it should be obvious that I've had my eyes on the exit sign of New York City for quite a while. That should be obvious to everybody here. And while I was traveling for a bit in Massachusetts for the lobbying trip, once that was done, since it took a bit out of me, I decided to go up to New Hampshire with Erica and spend a few weeks there, just kind of get an idea for how things were. I wound up going back again and enjoying another trip, and I found an area that I liked, and I wound up making an offer on a house in that area. Now, I want to go over that a little bit because this is kind of funny. So this is a house that was listed for $525,000. Just don't look at what it was for sale for in 1995. It'll make you want to fucking cry. But this is what they listed it for. And they were saying, listen, we have other offers that are in the neighborhood of asking and blah, blah, blah. So, you're not going to be able to get anything by, doing anything below asking. So I eventually wound up being under contract at the asking price. And I do believe over here that this pending sale was me. Now, there was something that seemed kind of fishy regarding this listing. You could say that I'm a first-time home buyer, that I'm inexperienced, that I'm an idiot, and when you say all those things, you're likely correct. But if something feels fishy, I just don't accept that concept of, Lewis, you're ignorant, you don't understand it. No, if something feels fishy, I don't spend money. That's just the way it is. Whether I'm dealing with imports, electronics repair, new business ideas, renting a store, because at the end of the day, I don't understand how any of this shit works. I'm figuring it out as I go. If I don't feel comfortable, I don't spend money. And what seemed fishy here was that they wanted a really short time for the inspection time period. So they wanted something like, I forget if it was like 7 days or something like that. I honestly don't remember. I got to go back. I remember speaking to Sonny because he's purchased numerous properties and he was giving me advice. He said you should ask for a 30-day period for all this stuff. The realtor said it's way too long, and they rejected every single compromise. So I tried to come to a compromise to let's say a longer period than they wanted, but a shorter period than I wanted. They wouldn't give even 1 day. And I thought about it for a moment, and I thought, you know what? That's bullshit. There's something weird there. So I decided to pull out of the transaction. And they said, well, again, we already had somebody else who was about to submit an offer at the same time as you. No problem. We'll go ahead with them. They were about to go ahead with them. And the house was listed. Again, it was actually a pending sale again over here at $525. And now it is at $550. So the weird thing here is, again, this wasn't even a case of there being some sort of ridiculous bidding war. We're not talking about there was some sort of crazy bidding war that happened, other people that came in or some shit like that. This house went from $525 to $550. I was under contract to purchase this. I could have purchased this for $525,000. And then somebody came along and just said, you know what? There's no bidding war happening here. I know that sale went through. Let me just give you an additional $25,000 over it. And the reason that this kind of hits me, one way or the other, is because I know, because I was under contract, that if I wanted, I would have had that house for $525,000. So seeing it literally a month and a half later, just selling for $25,000 more, Somebody probably came along and thought, oh, I don't want anybody else getting it. Don't let anybody else get it. No, don't, housing market. And just wrote a check for $25,000 over asking. You don't have to do that. I think a lot of people are actually we may be at the phase in the housing market where instead of people waiting for a bidding war, they anticipate a bidding war and offer more money over asking, even when they could have gotten away with asking or lower. That's insane. That's actually insane. And it's just, I had this in my bookmarks for a while, and I check it every other day because I'm just curious. And I was kind of looking like, what does it close for? What does it close for? What does it close for? I figured it was going to go for below asking because I figured the only reason that they're willing to toss out the other offer and put up with my shit and going back and forth for a while was because I was offering more. I didn't realize that I would have actually been offering $25,000 less. That's insane. That's crazy. That's absolutely effing crazy. I don't know what they could have done. Did they throw in a car or something that I don't know about? Anyway, if you have any idea as to why something like that is something that would happen outside of a bidding war, if there's some sort of weird thing that could happen in the closing of a house that just, again, outside of closing cost, lawyer and all that just magically adds $25,000, I would be very curious. But it's very interesting looking at this, and I know I'm repeating myself, and I think I'm repeating myself for good reason. I know that I could have had this for 5% less than what it actually closed for. So it's just so weird seeing that. It's just like going to the store and realizing that somebody paid $10 more than you for the same meal at a restaurant for no reason. It's just, I don't know how else to put it. It's just weird. It's very weird. And then this has to stop, because if it doesn't stop, at some point, nobody's going to be able to afford a home in the United States anymore. Hey, let me know what you think in the comments down below. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. If a transaction feels weird, if it feels iffy, if it feels at the end of the day, I don't go through with it. It's just, it's one of those things that if I had followed it more often, if I had been less afraid to feel like an idiot more often because I just didn't go through with something because I, quote, didn't know what I was doing, I probably would have made far fewer dumb decisions over the course of my life. And hopefully you make less of those too. I'm going to pet a Clinton now. Clinton? Clinton? What the fuck was that? That wasn't even a meow. Yeah, that's all you're going to get out of Clinton today, I guess. See you later.